After the Super Bowl was over, after the Pro Bowl was over last year, they became the Tennessee Titans. So for the 4th straight year, this franchise will have a new home stadium. Now, we think defensive line, but you know what? Kearney, Kearse. Let's go to Andrea Kramer with a word on the Tennessee Titans. Andrea.
Thank you very much, Chris. Let's just say I talked to Floyd Reese just moments ago, and he was laughing and smiling because they will be able to get the man they covet the most, Jevon Kearse, the defensive end from Florida. Floyd said he was the 6th best player that they have up there. They will play him at right end. He is the best pass rusher. Keep in mind that defensive ends had only 6.5 sacks out of 30 sacks overall for the Titans. They definitely feel they need to polish his skills and put him at one position. He was played all over the place, a jack of all trades, if you will, at Florida, but they'll put him at right end. They'll work him into the rotation there and really hope that they'll boost their pass rush with Jevon Kearse. Let's head back to you in New York, Chris.
All right, Andrea, thank you. And Mel, this is an intriguing type of player. We have a couple of these rated very high every year, a tweener. And by that we mean, do you line him up an outside linebacker? Do you line him up at a down lineman defensive end? And every year, half the teams think one way, half the teams think the other. Where should Kearse play?
Well, I thought he would be like a Peter Boulware, up on 1st and 2nd down on 3rd down like a Peter Boulware does in Baltimore. But they're looking at him as a defensive end. Remember, he's 6'4½". He's 256 pounds, up to 262. Ran a 4.47 on grass. Great closing speed. But he wasn't a sack artist at Florida. Had 7 sacks this past season. Needs some technique work. So whereas a Peter Boulware could get after the quarterback, Kearse still needs to learn some technique. Disappeared in certain parts of some key games. So a little more consistency needed out of Jevon Kearse, but certainly with that physical and athletic ability, at this stage of the 1st round, he makes some sense,
well,
Joe.
This franchise, Joe, has tried this position before, and in recent years, not been overly successful.
No, they haven't. You take a look at this is their last 5-year picks of their status of the guys they've taken. Salvo, Lyons, Holmes, Burton, Mix.
No wonder they're changing their name.
They've just, I mean, really. And then there you see the last 5 years, again, more. 95 Walker, Anthony Cook, who now is a Washington Redskin, Nunley, Ford. But you have to understand, I think the reason why this will work out very well for him is the philosophy that Jeff Fisher likes to use on defense. It's a pressure style of defense. It brings a lot of safeties. It brings a lot of linebackers. So you really need somebody who can rush the passer from the outside and be quick. They feel like they can disrupt the running game as much with their scheme as they can with just lining up big people. So a good, quick, fast football player added to the front here gives them, I think, an opportunity with, and not only opportunity, but also versatility in what they want to do on defense.
You know what, the Titans are a team, the Oilers, for you fans still trying to get adjusted to this, these are not the New York Titans of the early AFL days. 8-8, we wait for them to make a move, and I guess their move is involved with when Steve McNair takes a quantum leap. Is this the year?
This has got to be the year, Chris. I think there are 3 quarterbacks. I think Trent Dilfer, Steve McNair, and Jeff Blake all have to go out and prove that they are the starters in the National Football League that everybody has expected them to be. And in the case of Trent and Jeff, they have been. I think Steve McNair now has an opportunity to move up the charts and become a much better quarterback. He's got people around him now. Defensively, you just have to expect that the Titans are going to be better than an 8-8 football team. I don't think Jeff Fisher would be anything satisfied with less than 11 wins, and a lot of those three additional wins are going to have to come on the arm of Steve McNair, not on his legs. He doesn't need to rush for 600 or 700 yards. He just has to be able to throw the ball more efficiently and be more effective in the passing game.
Jevon Kearse, let's go back to where we think the Titans are going to go. Do you project him to be as good as Boulware? Because Boulware is pretty good now.
Boulware's real good. He was a great pass rusher at Florida State. There's no question about that, Chris. But you look at Jevon Kearse, like I said, the consistency is needed down the line. But I thought as a linebacker combination guy, that's where he'd be worked. Obviously in Tennessee, if he goes there, would be a down defensive end. We got a kid, 256 pounds, tremendous wingspan, and he did show pass rush potential. He had 7 this past year, got after the quarterback with more effectiveness. Keep in mind, he was a safety in high school, a safety early on at Florida before Steve Spurrier moved him to the defensive side of the ball and left him on at the linebacker defensive end position. So a combination athletic kid who needs to develop the type of consistency and overall skill level that you need at the pro level. He's a player, I think, drafted more on physical and athletic potential than the steady productivity at the college level.
Well, we had, just to backtrack a minute, McFarland, when he went to Tampa Bay, it's the latest since 1983 that we've waited for a defensive lineman to go. If and Kearse comes, then here comes the run a little bit. Then we start to, this is the fun part of the draft because these are the teams in specific Tennessee 8-8, Tampa Bay 8-8, some teams that are on the cusp of becoming good teams, and maybe a couple of draft picks here in the middle of round 1 and in the middle of round 2, an 8-8 team becomes 10-6, 11-5.
Not only that, Chris, I think that both Tony Dungy and Jeff Fisher, we're talking about the Titans and, of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, both of these coaches expect more out of their football teams. They've had them. They've put they've developed their system. They've brought people in they want. Now they've got the players they want. There's an expectation there, particularly in Tampa Bay, where we had them projected to possibly go and contend for a Super Bowl title a year ago. I would think anything short of 10 or 11 wins for either one of these football teams would be extremely disappointing, and they're going to need help from young players in this draft.
In Tampa Bay's case in particular, Minnesota jumped over them and actually jumped over the Packers last year, so now they're the number 3 team in a very competitive division. Tennessee got a depleted Pittsburgh team in their division. They're maybe in a better place to make a move. We'll be back.
The durable, authentic khaki. It gets better with every wash.
It began as the product of meticulous Japanese design, but it was sent to Europe for finishing school. It was tested on Austria's Alpine roads, refined on Germany's Autobahns, and chased on England's racetracks. Now the car that's proven itself in Europe is crossing the pond. Introducing the all-new 99 Infiniti G20. Born in Japan, educated in Europe, now available in America.
Last time you made money in your sleep, you believed in the Tooth Fairy. But now, check into any Red Roof Inn with our coupon from USA Today and get $5 cash back. Plus, you get to keep all your teeth. Ooh, beauties. Call 1-800-THE-ROOF and save money like you mean it.
Don't I call this?
Dancing.
No, it's the collect call with 1-800-CALLATT. Just dial right down the center of the phone. CALLATT for guaranteed cheap collect calls. Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT.
Hey there, from Plank Road. We're down here side by each in my custom bomb shelter, which of course is stocked with plenty of canned goods, and I'm not talking about lima beans, okay? I'm talking about the beer with the never watered down taste.
Ice House.
Yes. Down here, we have the freedom to do whatever our hearts desire.
This is awesome!
What can we say? Out here, our world is beer.
Back in New York at the 64th NFL Draft, it's the Tennessee Titans' first ever pick.
With the 16th selection in the draft, the Tennessee Titans select Javon Kearse, linebacker, University of Florida.
Wow. All right, well, we've talked. We already gave him away, but I mean, it's a pick that nobody on their defensive line had more than 4 sacks last year. So obviously for Tennessee, it's a position of need. Maybe this is one that will click. Let's go up to Mark Malone and Ron Jaworski for their thoughts on a team that could be very interesting this year, guys.
Well, Boomer, it could be very interesting. One of the things that often happens with these college players that come into the National Football League playing that rush end or linebacker is that they are tweeners, kind of underweight. Do you play them at defensive end or do you play them at linebacker? Well, with Jeff Fisher and his scheme, a disciple of Buddy Ryan, well, Jaws, they're going to put him in a situation in a couple of positions that are going to allow him to be very, very productive.
Mark, you are correct. This really is a good fit for Jeff Fisher and Greg Williams, their defensive coordinator. They love the tweener kind of guy, so he can attack from either the linebacker position or the defensive end position. And they are a 4-3 team, under team. This is a defensive end, so he can play this position and in passing situations, attack the quarterback. In other words, get up the field and get in his face. Now, in normal situations, he would play this linebacker position right here. here. In other words, now he would have an end and a tackle in front of